So we're just gonna kind of let this set and mix for just a little bit on that low speed while we finish incorporating the other ingredients, okay? So now what we're gonna do is I took 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour and I put it in my sifter. Now I need to add a couple of things to it. A 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna add the baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add my salt. Same equivalencies, okay? So 1/2, 1/2. 1/2 teaspoon and a 1/2 teaspoon. And that's gonna go right in my sifter, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sift those ingredients together in this bowl. And then I can be sure that everything's incorporated the way it needs to be, and the flour is nice and fluffy and ready to go. All right, that sifted out really good, folks. I did have a little lump of the baking powder, baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda, in the sifter here. So that really helped to break that down, so it's all gonna be mixed in just right, okay? So we've got that incorporated here. Now we've got our oats. 1 1/2 cups of oats go into the mixture as well. And what you do is I just have my teaspoon here, or you can use a fork or whatever, I just kind of toss it around here. All right, so this all gets tossed in so you have a nice even mixture of your oats, your flour, your salt, and your baking soda. Okay, and that's all that there is to it. Now, my butter is mixed up perfect. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab a spatula, and then we're going to lower this down, and I'm gonna kind of get the mix off of the beaters just by kind of raising up the speed just a hair, kind of just beats off the excess, and then I'll finish scraping it down. This looks fantastic. Yum, huh? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of scrape off the remaining bits of the sugar and the butter, and that incorporated so well, everybody. Now, you're probably wondering, why don't I just throw this all in the mixture together? Well, one of the reasons why I don't is because I don't want the oatmeal to get beaten down at all, okay? So that's why we're gonna go into the hand stirring portion of today's segment, is we're gonna stir this all together. Now, after you kind of clean off the beaters, kind of the best you can, you use your fingers if you want. Sometimes the fingers is the best way to go if you just want to clean it off really quick and easy. And like I said, that butter, because of the temperature outside, softened up so quick, folks. It didn't take any time at all. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle some of the mixture, probably about half, into my mixing bowl. And then I'm just gonna take my spatula, and this is a great opportunity to scrape down the sides of your mixing bowl, everybody. So I'm just gonna take it and just kind of give it a stir. You don't have to be too careful with this. What you're just trying to do is just trying to create that crumb mixture. All right. Now don't forget, we're gonna use half of this in the bottom, and then we're gonna use half of it on the top. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump in my remaining half of my flour mixture. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and toss this in. Now again, you can use your fork again if you want to. You don't have to get too fancy. But the important part is to not use your stand mixer or your beaters anymore, okay? Just because you want those oats to stay whole and you want this crumb mixture to just be perfect, and you don't want it too mushy. If you go ahead and you try and mix those oats in with your stand mixer, it's gonna break down the outer shell of that oat, and just really, like, you know, when you put it in oatmeal bread or something like that, you're gonna put it on your dough hook, or you're gonna keep kneading it, and the moisture of the bread absorbs that oats. But you don't want that to happen in this. This is kind of like that apple crisp crumb mixture. Same concept with the butter. Only, you know, the butter could be a little bit colder maybe in the apple crumb mixture, just because it doesn't have to be real soft. But I consider it very, very similar in texture, in taste, you know, in baking consistency. Everything is pretty much the same because it's pretty much the same mixture. Okay, I think I've got all of the big lumps all broken together. If you wanted to get in there with your hands and kind of break it down, you could too. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my 9x13 baking dish and I'm gonna kind of move this stuff off to the side so you can see the rest of the steps here of what we need to do to incorporate it all together. All right, so I got my 9x13 baking dish here, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it just a light spray with some non-stick cooking spray. You could grease this if you wanted to with a little bit of shortening, vegetable shortening, totally up to you. I just give it a quick spray. This is quick, it's easy, and I just like to do it that way, okay? So now what we're gonna do is you're gonna eyeball this, and you're gonna take out half the mixture and pour it into the bottom of your pan. Now, if you go a little over and give it a little over half, that's completely fine. And what I do is I usually just kind of spread it around, kind of give it a quick pat, and when the bottom is covered, I know I'm good. All right? So there we go. That might be a hair over half, but I'd rather have too much on the bottom than not enough, because you need a solid foundation for these dates, okay? And after they're all incorporated nicely along the bottom, what you're gonna do is take your non-stick cooking spray again. Now, you could use butter or you could use your shortening, and you can grease your hands just a little bit, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna give them a little bit of a press here. You're gonna get all along the sides. Now you don't have to go up on the sides, you just wanna get into the corners, just so it's pressed in. You can use the bottom of you can use a cup if you want to impress into the corners a little bit with your cup, completely up to you. I like to use my hands because then I can feel how it's packing in, okay? Again, total preference on this one, folks. Whatever you'd like to do and whatever is the easiest for you, okay? All right, so I'm gonna give my hands a quick wash here. That looks so great. Oh my goodness, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I can't wait to try these. Now, I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And these things are gonna, when we're all done, these things are gonna cook for about 25-30 minutes, all right? So now what we're gonna do is this date mixture is cooled, it's been sitting there. You wanna let it set at least 5 minutes. I let it set a little longer, like the whole time it takes to make this, because it's still pretty hot. And you don't want it to start melting that butter and just making everything mushy. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of the ingredients out of the pot. Like I said, this is a 2-quart saucepan, and it seems to work really well for this recipe. If you have one that's a little bit bigger, don't be afraid to use it, but I would not recommend going any smaller than 2 quarts, okay? All right, so now what I'm gonna do with my wooden spoon is just simply spread out the mixture evenly. It smells so good, you guys. This is great to take to any like potluck dinner or just have around the house for people to come over. It's a nice, easy dessert to make, and the dates are just delicious. Just delicious. I just love them so much. Like I said, I eat them a lot as a snack. They're a great source of fiber, and I'll take 2 or 3 of them and pop them in my mouth, and I'm good to go for the afternoon. All right, so now making sure I get all of the yumminess in here. That is all spread nice and evenly. So you can see it in my baking pan all around the corners, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the rest of the mixture, okay? And I'm just gonna take it and lightly sprinkle it along the top. There we go. Making sure I get all of it out. Yum. A little bit off the spatula, and then I'm just going to lightly sprinkle it around the top. All right, folks, this looks like it's ready to bake. Now again, it's gonna go into a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes until this crust gets nice and like light golden brown, okay? So don't go away, we're gonna bring this out in just a few minutes and you'll be able to see the end result. All right, everybody, we're back. These have been in the oven for about 20 minutes, okay? Between 18 and 20. I checked them at 15, it needed a couple more minutes, so I let them set in there and then I turned off the oven, brought them out, and just let them set just for a few minutes. You can still hear kind of the butter sizzling and everything kind of coming together. Now you want to cut these when they're still warm. You don't need to serve them when they're still warm, but it's a great thing to cut them so that when the butter cools back down and infuses back into the sugar mixture and the oats, along with the figs, that everything is separated and it just kind of brings everything nice and clean back together. And you're not like, the dates are really sticky, so if you cut them when they're cool, your knife is just gonna be a mess. You're always gonna be trying to clean it off and they're not gonna make nice clean cuts. So just kind of a hint there, cut them while they're warm, okay? And then maybe wait just a few more minutes, like say maybe 10 minutes, and then make another slice with them again, just to make sure that they're all separated really nice. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut down the middle here, just with a regular butter knife. I don't need a nice serrated knife or anything like that. Just make a cut there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate each section into thirds, okay? So I'm gonna take like about 1/3, which is probably about 1.5 inches or so, and then the next one. And the same on the other side. We're gonna do 1/3 and 1/3, okay? So you should have 6 cuts down, going down, okay? And 6 bars across, okay? So then what I'm gonna do after that is you're just gonna kind of spin it, and I'm gonna make 1 cut down the center. This makes 24, okay? And then I'm gonna cut it in half, the half of the half, so cut it into a quarter, and then a quarter on the other side. Now this makes the perfect size date square for me. I would want the whole pan, but you know, I guess I have to share with some people. All right, so we have got 24 delicious date squares right here. And like I said, this recipe, when my grandmother used to make these and bring these to like a church supper or something like that, or if she had them at the house and I showed up, I couldn't wait to eat them. They were just so delicious. Now, even though it's really warm, I want to try and dish one out just so that you can kind of see it. I'm just gonna make a little cut again. Now I'm probably gonna make a huge mess with this and it's not gonna look very pretty when I dish it out, but I can't help it. I want you guys to see the finished product. So I'm just kind of really making a definite impression there with my square. Look at that, everybody. Oh my goodness. It just looks perfect. All right? So I know it's a little messy. It's gonna be much better if you let it cool, but I just couldn't wait any longer. All right, so I hope you enjoy this recipe. Go ahead, make it for your family. The kiddos won't know that there's dates in it, all right? Don't tell them there's dates in it. Just tell them it's like sugar or something like that. They'll eat it right up. Again, hope you like this recipe. Thanks a lot for coming over, watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. And don't forget, whatever you do, you make it with love. We'll see you next time, everybody.